General Vids 090 back here with another video today, and in today's video this is my Melbourne Storm 2021 season preview. Well, obviously when you talk about Melbourne you talk about success, of course, and it's been like that for the past decade now. Storm have always achieved success. They're just a champion side. You gotta give it to them. I mean, I can't stand Melbourne personally, but they're a champion side and I have to give them credit because they are a really good team, and they've just always class. I mean, the thing about Melbourne Storm is that they just always had really good players and really successful ones. They've always had guys like Slater, Smith, Cronk come through. Guys like Munster and Pappenhausen. No one nearly nothing a couple of years ago. Now Melbourne have just built them up to be representative players now, basically, and premiership winners. Even Branko Lee, he was playing in 2019. He was playing reserve grade for the Gold Coast Titans, and he was playing like reserve grade all the time at Bulldogs and Titans. And then he goes to Melbourne Storm and he resurrects his career. Then he wins a premiership in 2020. So it just goes to show you that Storm, they're just that smart of a side that can turn a really average player into a star player and next minute a premiership winner. That's the story of Melbourne Storm, right there. The moral. Storm are a successful side, and you got to give it to them. Obviously they're the current premiers, but will they win it again this year in 2021? Is yet to be seen. But let's get into the season preview. So this is my 1 to 17. In my opinion, this is a team I'd pick with everyone at full strength. So if I was in charge, obviously I'd pick this side. Fullback Ryan Pappenhausen. The wingers are Remus Smith and Josh Adokar. The centers are Branko Lee and Justin Olam. The halves are Cameron Munster and Jerome Hughes. The props are Jesse Bromwich and Nelson Asafa Solomona. Hookers Harry Grant. The back rows are Felice Kafusi and Kenny Bromwich. And Lockdale Finucane. And off the bench, 14 Brandon Smith, 15 Tui Kamika, 16 Christian Welch, and 17 Max King. And the coach, and obviously one of the best coaches that I think I've ever seen, Craig Bellamy. So that's a really strong 1 to 17 there. That's a really strong team. The backline is superb, full of speed and skill. And you've got the forward pack. It looks tough, looks experienced, looks really strong. So they've got a great 1 to 17 Storm. And plus the bench, you have guys like Brandon Smith coming on with a lot of impact. The Hector Cheese brings a lot of impact. And you've got guys like Christian Welch, quality front rower. He brings a lot to the table. And you've got Max King and Tui Kamika, two young forwards, but both are pretty decent games I've seen. So got a very good team in Melbourne Storm. Now this is their depth for 2021. So Cooper Johns, George Jennings, Isaac Lumilu, Jonah Pezzett, Nico Hines, Riley Jacks, Tom Eisenhuth, Aaron Penny, Chris Lewis, Darren Skinnig, or however you say it, and Jack Holworth. And that's the Melbourne Storm's depth right there. They've currently got 28 players in their top 30 squad, so they need to get 2 more players and then they'll be set. But overall, their depth isn't that bad. I think they've got many places covered up in terms of depth. Now, going over the other page, this is the Melbourne Storm strengths in 2021, in my opinion. So the strengths are a great spine and a strong 1 to 17 squad, and strong 1 to 17, and the entire squad's pretty strong. So that's some of their strengths there. The spine, you got Ryan Pappenhausen, who, in 2019, no one knew who he was. In 2019, everyone just never knew who he was. He was coming up from the West Tigers. The West Tigers decided to get rid of him for some reason, and he goes to the Melbourne Storm. Plays a couple of games in reserves. Then he gets brought to first grade and becomes an absolute superstar and becomes one of the best fullbacks in the game right now. He's quality. He won a premiership last year. He's a Clive Churchill medalist as well. He won that in the grand final in 2020. Brilliant player. Melbourne have just turned him into nothing. Into something. That's the thing about Melbourne Storm. Just a smart side that changed him into a real player now, Ryan Pappenhausen. So Pappenhausen's a freak. And then the halves, Cameron Munster and Jerome Hughes. Well, Munster's a star to start off with. He was playing fullback. He was always a fullback. Then the Melbourne Storm in 2017 transferred him into a 5'8", and then guess what? The first year, Storm tried him out in 5'8" in 2017 from being a fullback. He went to premiership. So, and Munster's just a quality player overall. Plays with Australia and Queensland. He's a complete player. Everyone wants in their side. An absolute awesome player, Cameron Munster. I love Cameron Munster. And the halfback, Jerome Hughes. I mean, Jerome Hughes again. He was nothing. Jerome Hughes. I mean, he was playing reserve grade for the Melbourne Storm. He was an in-out first grader. He was always there to only fill in back in 2018 or 2019, and maybe like in late 2019 to now, 2020 and probably 2021, he's become a permanent first grader. And Jerome Hughes, the thing about him was he was a fullback. He was as well. He was never a halfback, and he could play halfback, but his preferred position was always fullback because he always played there. But Storm again, they turned him into a premiership winning halfback in 2020, and how they do it, I don't know. But obviously they got a lot of great coaching staff and a lot of great people who make this happen. So yeah, Jerome Hughes is an absolute gun as well. And the hooker Harry Grant obviously comes back to the Melbourne Storm after having 2020 at the Tigers on a loan deal, was at the Tigers for a year, and in 2021 makes his returns to the club in Melbourne Storm. Harry Grant's I think he'll be one of the best hookers to come in the coming years. I think Harry Grant will be at least top 3 hooker. That's a big call, but I think in the coming years, Harry Grant will be the best hooker in the game, or one of them. He just already at a young age, like I think he's only like 20 something, like 21, 20. And he's already showing the potential that we all could see in the coming years. He's just such a freak, Harry Grant. I think he's, I won't say he's a perfect replacement for Cameron Smith, but I mean, at least he actually has a lot of quality, and I think that he could be just good enough to kind of, I guess, fill in for Smith, since he's probably going to leave. I don't know what's happening with him, but I'll get into that soon. But yeah, Harry Grant's already played a State of Origin, after playing only one game in 2018, one game in about 2 or 3 games in 2019, in 2020, plays a full season. I'm pretty sure the Tigers all just plays about 17 or only 3 games in 2020, but play most of the season. He's already playing State of Origin, already in Australian representative discussions. He's just an absolute freak, Harry Grant, and I think that he will go really well in 2021. He'll go well back at Storm. The best signing for the Melbourne Storm, this is their best signing, in my opinion. So the Storm haven't really made any big signings, to be honest. I mean, the only signings they made is George Jennings, Remus Smith. Is that it? I think that's it, yeah. They haven't made much signings, Melbourne, but if I was to pick one good signing, it's probably Remus Smith, because Remus Smith, I think, is a really good player. He's a great player who's tall, with a lot of speed. I mean, 2020 wasn't his best year, you could say, because maybe it was because he was constantly playing 1 week at wing, 1 week in the centres. I think he's a great player overall. Remus Smith at the Bulldogs, he showed he's a good young kid coming up. Not too young anymore, but I think that him at the Melbourne Storm, I think Craig Bellamy and the rest of the coaching staff will make him one of the best wingers in the game. That's what Melbourne Storm do, everyone, Whenever someone goes into that Melbourne Storm system, they instantly become a star. So that's probably the case with Remus Smith, and I think that he'll fit into that Melbourne Storm team really well, replacing Suliasi Vunivalu. Their worst loss now, we know who the worst loss is if he doesn't play for the Storm ever again. We already know who it is, and it's yet to be confirmed he's gone. I think the Storm already moved on from him, but honestly, I don't have no idea what this bloke's doing, and that's Cameron Smith. I think Cameron Smith's their worst loss, and I'll just say it now, because I think Cameron Smith won't play for Melbourne Storm ever again. I think he'll either retire or go to the Gold Coast Titans, or maybe Broncos, you never know, but I think he'll retire personally. I think he's already achieved enough in the game, so... But yeah, look, I think he won't play for Storm again. I think they've already moved on, and I think they're already focusing on Harry Grant for the future. But yeah, look, I think Cameron Smith's the biggest loss for them. He's been there for about maybe... How long has he been there now? For about 20 years, or like 17 or something years, I don't know. He's been there for a long time, let me tell you that much. Nearly 2 full decades he's been at Melbourne Storm. He's obviously won plenty of premierships there, won plenty of finals games. He's been through all of the Melbourne Storm. He's obviously one of the probably the best ever player they've ever had, maybe. Great captain, great leader. Smith's just such a great player overall, and I think that he's the biggest loss for them in 2021. The player that needs to step up in 2021 now. I don't think this surprises many people at all when I say this, but the player that needs to step up for the Melbourne Storm in 2021 is no one. I don't think anyone has to step up for the Melbourne Storm in 2021. I think everyone's pretty safe in 2021. I think everyone is playing. Everyone looks good. No one is under any pressure, I don't think. So Storm are fine there. My low prediction for the Melbourne Storm in 2021 is 3rd. I think Melbourne Storm Melbourne Storm have always been a top 2 sort of team. But I think this year, maybe without Cameron Smith, it might be a little bit different. Not too much different. I think they've got a team for a top 4 berth for sure. But maybe without Cameron Smith, it could be a little bit different. So that's my prediction right there. 3rd for the Melbourne Storm in 2021. But guys, that's the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. And I've got one more video coming up today later on.